So guys, today we are going to create our first database in Postgres using Visual Studio Code. So first of all, let's go ahead and open our Visual Studio Code editor. Inside the Visual Studio Code editor, we are going to install the Postgres extension that we are going to be using. So you open the Visual Studio Code, then you go to the extension option here. Sorry, this okay. Sorry, this is the extension. You come to extension, then you search for Postgres. So inside the extension, we are going to search for Postgres. Postgres. So this is the one we are going to use. I have already installed it. If you are doing it for the first time, go ahead and install it. You open it, then you see install here, you click on that. Then it will be installed. Once you've installed this extension, you can come down here, you see it here. It will appear here, that is the database. Then you click on it. Then you come to the addition sign here. You see the add connection, then you click on that. Then here you enter the name you want to use, which is your local host. I have done it already. You can see it here. Then the group, any name you want to give it. Then you can create a password for it. Here, you can create a password. Then this is the port number. It will be given to you automatically. Then your host number 2 is here. Then the username, which is Postgres. And then the database, which is also what? Postgres. Once you are done with all that, you click on what? Add connection. Then it will open to a new terminal. So I've already finished with all the process. So let's go inside my database and I'll show you how to create your first database. So I'll click on it. Here, it will ask you to enter your password. So here I'll enter my password and press enter. Then you come here. Sorry. Let's refresh it. Okay. So this is the database I have created already. It is called Intense. That's the name of the database I've created. And then inside the database, there are tables which contains a lot of information, a table of student, a table of teachers, and then a table of what? Products. So first of all, let's open the Intense um, database and see how it works. So I'll go to the history here. You can see inside here, first of all, how to create your database. So the first thing you need to do is to, if you are creating a database, you just write create database, then you give the name that you want to give to your database. So here I've given Intense as my name of the database. So you can also give any name you want to use as your database. Then the next thing to do is to create a table that will contain the information that you want to use. So to create a table, you also write create table, then you give the name of the table you want. For instance, here you can see create table and the name of the table is called what? Student. Then you open your bracket. Then you give the ID of the student, which is SID in short. Then ID is an integer. That's why you can see int. And then that is a primary key. So you write int primary key. It should be in capital letters. Then the next column is your first name or the first name of the student. And it should be in text. And it should not be what? Null. Null means it shouldn't be empty. And then we have another column which is called second name. And it should also be in what? Text. It should not also be null. And then we have the last column, which is the last name, and it's also in text. Then when you are done with that, you close the bracket and then a semicolon. So this is how to create the table. So these things here are the columns that will contain the information inside the table. Now, to run or to be able to see the data inside the information or to fill the data that will be inside the table, you have to do what we call insert into student. That is to insert into the table. So the name of the table is called student. So to insert, you have to write insert into in capital letters. Then you give the name of the table. Then you open your your brackets. Then what are the columns that you are going to put in the data into? The first column is what we call the SID, which is the student ID here. Then the second column is the first name, which is also here. The third column is the second name, and the last column is what we call the last name. Now, the next thing to do is to come down and then write values in capital letters. Then you open your brackets again. So then you fill in the values or the information that will be inside the table. So for the first ID, that's the student ID, which is 2. That's the ID number. We have 2 for the first ID. Then the first name for that student is what we call Caleb. Then the second name is what we call Emanuela. And then the last name is what we call Eunice. And then when you come down here, this is the next ID for the next student, which is 6. And then we have the first name, which is Caleb, Emanuela, and Eunice. You can add as many data as you want. And then after every data, you separate it with comma. And then the last one you put in semicolon. Then to run this table or database, we have to do what we call select from the table. So you have to write select from student. That's the name of the table. For other places, it will be different, but for Visual Studio Code, all you need to do is to click on what we call execute. So you click on execute, you get to see the table with the information inside the table. So you can see here, this is the student ID column. We have 9 for the ID, then 12, 13, 14, and 15. Then for the next column, which is the first name, we have the names here as well. Then the second column, the third column too, you can see all the information inside this table. So that's how to create database and then create a table inside the database using Visual Studio Code. So thank you for coming to this platform. I hope you've learned something. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. And I'm hoping to see you in the next video. Love you.